Ever After High is one of the most unique children's shows out there, and I think it deserves a lot more love. For returning viewers, I think you should give this show a chance, and for new viewers, we're gonna be ranking Ever After High, so let's break down the tier list real quick. S tier is for great characters who I think about pretty much all the time. A tier is for iconic characters who are memorable and pretty fun to watch. B tier is for characters who are nice enough, but I don't really want to talk about. And C tier is for characters who are fun but underused, usually with a good design that makes them more interesting to look at. D is for fun concepts, but they're usually uninteresting overall, and F is for characters who I forget exist in this show because they just do so little for me. With that said, let's get right into the ranking. Applewhite is our main character and one of the best female leads I've ever seen. What Apple accomplishes is a respectful portrayal of hyperfemininity. I feel that the self-awareness the show displays is really incredible. A lot of times in girls' shows, the character's cheeriness is played up to the point of mockery, and other times ultra femininity means the character isn't meant to be taken seriously or is a shallow, vapid bully. What I like about Apple is that she's still treated respectfully while being allowed to have these hyper feminine traits that in another show would probably have her be a character we're meant to laugh at. Apart from this, Apple also has a lot of depth. She's kind, but she's willing to be direct about her intentions. I feel she's a unique lead because she's allowed to be kind of annoying and honestly selfish, but she has the right to be. She's flawed, she's just a teenage girl. I also love the relationship she has with her mother. Seeing Apple's mom really explained where she got her slight perfectionism, right down to not wearing glasses even though she needs them. For being one of my favorite female characters of all time, Apple is S tier. Her Wonderland and Throne coming outfits are some of my favorites. Briar Beauty was one of the first Afro-Latina characters we got, and she's a really fun early cast member. She gives Apple's scenes some flair and brings the energy into the room. Given her destiny to sleep for 100 years, she wants to live it up and party while she can. While I'm not sure if it's mentioned directly, it's pretty tragic that all her friends will have died when she awakens. She opposes Apple and even throws away the storybook of legends. This kind of proactive role is what really made me come to like her. She has a beautiful rose theme, and to be honest, she's just lots of fun. A tier for iconic. Crystal Winter is one of the last characters we meet, but far from the least. Right away she stands out for her pale blue skin, but also being a pseudo-main character. Crystal replaces Apple and her conflict takes up the whole of Epic Winter. Crystal is pretty alright. She starts off naive and inexperienced, before growing into a more capable princess. Overall, she's just fine though. I like her design, but she never really wowed me. She goes in B tier. Ashlyn Ella is a sweet girl and the daughter of Cinderella. She's a really charming character, and I like that she gets a consistent and real relationship with Hunter. Too often, kids' media is scared to portray a real relationship, which is just silly. Ashlyn and Hunter are so cute together, and I loved all the scenes of them just hanging out. I love Ashlyn's blue dress since I'm a blue dress believer, and I think the cloth bag is super iconic. Her magic touch being communication with animals also made the connection between her and Hunter feel a lot more natural. Ashlyn's Ferris on Ice outfit is probably her prettiest. Now let's talk about the boys for a bit. Daring Charming is another example of Ever After High being written with a lot of love for what's essentially a jock stereotype. Perhaps it's a reflection of the times, but even the characters who are basically stereotypes still get treated like real human beings. Daring is super self-obsessed, and it's a pretty funny gag. Having a character so focused on beauty turn into the beast was a pretty smart choice, and by the end of Epic Winter, Daring goes right into A tier. Speaking of Ashlyn, let's talk about Hunter. He's the hunter's child. Despite his pride in archery and athleticism, he refuses to hunt animals. Honestly, I did not care for this character, and I regularly forgot he was a part of the show. While I did love his scenes with Pesky, Sometimes he does feel like Ashlyn's bag because he's just an accessory to her scenes, so he's going straight in F. I did not care for this character at all. That bland brown and green color palette certainly did not help. Perhaps this palette should have been given to Hopper, but then Hopper might be ugly because I actually do like Hopper's design. I think he's a pretty sweet guy, and I also love the contrast between his poetic frog self and his bumbly cute personality when he's a human. So Hopper gets to be in C tier, or just gowns. I think that he's just fun to watch on screen. Dexter Charming is up next, and Dexter is Daring's younger brother. Pretty nice guy. He has a cute romance with Raven, but sadly, I do find him a bit forgettable. He's nice enough, so he gets put in C tier, but there's not much I remember about him. Good design, so I guess that bumps him up a little bit. Lastly, since we're talking about the Charmings, let's talk about Darling. Darling Charming is our forbidden lesbian and one of the most subversive characters. Darling is Dexter's twin sister and plays the prince role a lot better than him. She's got a gorgeous color palette and a really proactive role. Darling is the white prince who also steps in to help the girls during the Wonderland plotline. I love Darling mostly for her design, but also because I think she'd make a really good partner for Apple. I was pretty surprised when she woke up Apple after Daring failed, and while they just glossed over that, I did not. I still remember, and while I'm not a shipper, I really think these two should be a couple. If they ever did like a live action reboot, I would like to see them end up together. Easy S tier.
A secret note!
Maddie is one of the most excitable and funny characters we meet with a really unique palette. I love her use of teal and purple and the odd demeanor she has throughout the show. She's the daughter of the Mad Hatter and acts accordingly. She can speak the narrators, dances off rhythm, and even talks in Riddlish. She gives a really early insight into Wonderland and is a fun early character. Maddie's early outfit and her Wonderland dress are great. I also love all the other Wonderland outfits. I love that in this one you get to hear teal featured so prominently. It's a very bold choice. Maddie was always a fun girl to watch and has some of the funniest scenes in the series. For this, she goes straight into S tier, Queen.
I do what I want, and I want to be like my mom. Rear, laters.
What an iconic character. Kitty's such a cute, mischievous girl, and her magic touch is one of the most fun to watch. Kitty's aesthetic is also really iconic with the pastel hair combined with darker clothing. Her Wonderland outfit is pretty campy too, with a dangling clock, but the spring on sprung dress is definitely my favorite. She's always a joy to see on screen and a really fun girl overall. A tier. Justine Dancer has one of the prettiest and most iconic designs in Ever After High. I love her rich dark skin matched with gold and white as accents. She's not in the show much, but honestly, I really like her concept and I think she would have ranked higher if she got to do more. Gorgeous hair, gorgeous gowns, C tier. Melody Piper is the Pied Piper's daughter and she doesn't really have a storyline, but she's always fun and her design does a lot of work, so she's going in C too. Rosabella's our last C tier, as while I found her character interesting, I just don't really care for her. She's got a pretty design and, a nice storyline, but I genuinely don't think about her much. There's just not much that would prompt me to think about Rosabella. She's the less interesting beauty and Briar wasn't the greatest to begin with, so I feel like Cedar Wood is the first dark-skinned character we get, and she is the daughter of Pinocchio. Her whole gimmick is that she can't lie, which is a nice twist, making her a very fun character to watch, who also gets taken advantage of. She's got a really nice design with her brown and purple palette. My favorite dolls of hers are the main one, Spring Unsprung, and Sweet Treats. Overall, she's a really fun girl, and I just love how she behaves, so she's going straight into S. Our next characters are Sparrow Hood and Duchess Swan. Sparrow Hood is the son of Robin Hood, and he's mostly a gag character. I love his metal theme, and he's pretty memorable, so it's an easy A for iconic. She's often paired with Duchess Swan, who's also in that tier for her glorious design. I love her ballet inspiration and the mostly monochrome palette. She's a bit of a girl boss who plans to steal someone's destiny and is a bit of a mean girl. I love mean characters in kids shows because they're usually allowed to get stuff done and keep the plot moving. A tier. Now we're moving on to some of the characters who have really fun concepts. Fairy Good Fairy is the new fairy godmother, and her spells only last till 12 noon or 12 midnight. It's a neat concept. There's a bunch of characters with really unique ideas behind them that don't stick around or do much, so let's do a quick speed round. Michelle Mermaid is the Little Mermaid's daughter, and outside her beautiful design, I just don't care. I don't think she's a great singer either, and I didn't care for the shy performer plotline. We've seen it done to death. D tier. Gingerbread House, another fun girl. I like that she's the daughter of the witch. Her story was just fine though. I wish she interacted with the other girls more because after that, we just never saw her again. It's a shame the students didn't like her sweets at first, like If You Cried. D tier. Who else is in this place? Humphrey and Hopper are the other boys in the show. Hopper's concept is actually really sweet, so I'm bumping him up to C. Humphrey though, F. Who even cares? Like, I don't even remember him in the show. He said like one line that I remember when he was like, leave it to Humpty Dumpty to put it back together again. That's it. I don't even know why he was included. Lastly, C.A. Cupid, an imported character from Monster High. Since I haven't watched that show, I'm not going to be discussing her as she appears there. Cupid has a really cute classic design, love the tulle and lace, as well as the various heart, arrow, and wing motifs. However, Cupid also does a lot for the show's romance. While I'm not a shipper, I appreciate her kindness toward Dexter even when he had a crush on Raven. It's a very selfless thing to do. My favorite Cupid dresses are the Throne Coming dress and the Through the Woods and Heartstruck outfit. B tier. Alistair Wonderland is the son of Alice in Wonderland, and he's part of the Wonderland gang. I think they're the best characters. Wonderland supremacy. His original doll, though, hideous. I love the Spring Unsprung costume because the blue and yellow palette is great. He works with the girls to find the Storybook of Legends and has a very boring romance with Bunny Blanc, Name of the Year. I think he deserves a strong B, while Boring Bunny goes straight to F. While we're here, the annoying epic winter villains go here too. They want to be Team Rocket so bad. There's just so many characters I feel like have missed potential, especially Bunny. She just didn't do much. Her job was to stand around and blush, and I really find her design super weird. Why is she an animal hybrid in a really creepy way? Like Cerise looks normal, but Bunny just looks very weird to me, so F. Holly and Poppy O'Hare, the Rapunzel twins, unique take on the concept. The hair thing is fun. The swapped places is fun. I also love their color palette. I'm sorry, every character with purple appeals to me. They're going in C tier. Their outfits also look like something I can imagine real people wearing. That's the end of the characters with fun concept. So now we're going to move on to another group. The mothers of Ever After High are such good characters. First up, we have Snow White and the Evil Queen. When I saw Apple's mom, everything about her made sense. I love that she's not a great person, given how self-righteous she is. She strongly supports tradition, and this explains the origin of Apple's perfectionism. I think her design is perfect. The stark white skin with the long black hair, that strong jaw, the designers really popped off on this one. Straight to A tier, iconic. The Evil Queen has a great design too. I love her silhouette and face shape. Those glitter wings are just the final touch. She's very menacing, and I love all the accessories she's allowed to wear. These two were used in Dragon games to manipulate Apple, and it was a very fun arc. I wish Epic Winter used the King and Queen in a similar way, but I just didn't care for them, so they're not even in this video. Speaking of, the Queen of Hearts was a great character too. I love her bigger design. We could always use some different body types. It's a bit sad that she slowly went mad because it seemed like she really does care for Lizzie. I was very invested in their relationship. A tier for all three of these moms. A tier. I wish we got to see more of them, but hey, what we did get was incredible.
What's this?
Raven Queen is ostensibly our main character, and I have to admit, She is the backbone of this show. Raven is the daughter of the evil queen, but she doesn't want to be evil like her mom. While she does enjoy using magic, she doesn't like much else about her destiny. She also has really pale skin, which gives her a gothic aesthetic. I like that both Apple and Raven use pale skin for completely different vibes. Apple looks Victorian and classic, that really powdered white face, and Raven looks more gothic. It's just fun that there's dichotomy with their designs. I think her default design in the cartoon is pretty great, but I also love her throne coming dress. The Wonderland one, I'm always flipping on whether I like it or not. It's certainly ambitious, but I'm still not sure if I actually like it. It left an impact, to say the least. Now there's just a few characters left, so let's get them out of the way. Fabel Thorn is someone I don't really have much to say about. She's near the end because truly, she's fun to watch. You just have to watch the show to get her. I'm putting her in A tier. I can't explain it, but I just love mean characters. It's such a fun archetype. I do think it's funny how this video started with like Apple being a deep female character and then Fable is just fun to watch. But hey, we need all kinds of characters, so Fable gets to A just by being herself and being fun. Blondie is a character I forget exists all the time. She's got a great design and a really cool concept, but she is painfully underused. Apple's best friends are very underused because Raven is friends with Maddie, and Maddie does so much in the show, but Blondie and Briar rarely get any screen time or anything relevant to do. Cute idea, I love her show and her magic touch. It's also unique that they explain she's not really royalty, but she goes in B tier, not really great, but far from the worst. Our last characters are Courtly and Lizzie. Courtly and Lizzie are at the heart of the Wonderland saga, and I love their personalities so much. Up until the arc, Lizzie had been cold and harsh. We got to see a sweeter side of her when she goes on the date with Daring, but now we get to see her full heart on display with her concern for her mother and the girls in Wonderland. Courtly is a really iconic villain too. The Cockney accent was very entertaining and she's so goofy. I love a good clown and camp, so villains like these are always my favorites. I'm obsessed with them, so they go straight into A tier. We're going to take a look at the entire list now, and you can tell me what you think, where you would put anyone. I don't think Blondie was on this list because she's forgettable to the people making it too, but let's just quickly go down the whole tier list. So we've got S tier with the best characters in the show, characters I think are great just in children's television. I really think these are unique concepts. Then we've got A for characters who might not get the most but do leave an impact. B is for characters who are just kind of meh. I'm not really feeling them, but hey, it's not that they're bad, it's just that they're nice. I would not skip the episode if they were involved. C is for characters whose design does a lot of heavy lifting because truly their personalities do not get enough love. They don't do anything revolutionary, so I just like when I see them on screen because they look nice. If the design was even a little worse, I would definitely have put them in F. D is for characters with a fun concept that are woefully underused. It's not always their fault. For example, Tiny the Giant is here, and truly, Tiny was never going to be a main character, so I can't say it's his fault. F, characters I forget, characters I don't care about. Anyway, if you enjoyed this, let me know what characters you like, and be sure to stick around. Let me know what else you'd like to see covered about Ever After High. I'm interested in the idea of what a live action reboot could look like because I feel like the storytelling and the characters would translate a lot better than Monster High or even Winx. I haven't watched Winx, but I really do think an Ever After High live action could go further. With that said, thank you so much for watching and see you next time.